fellow string pickers. Run to the noise. Let's go!
Are you really gonna look at this cute face and not subscribe?
Seconds later.
Well, hello, all of you string picking guys and gals out there. Welcome back to the String Pickers channel here at my Obscene Studio. And if this is your first time here, like and subscribe, by the way. See, Billy, I can do it. You don't have to do that and then request that I pay you to do so. Today, String Pickers, we are going to dive into something that was brought to my attention a while back. I had a video on tone capacitors and another video on treble bleeds, to which I got this kit off of Amazon. This is the Bojack Capacitor kit, 150 pieces, and we have everything in here from 001 all the way up to 0.56. So lots of different sizes, some pretty good size tone capacitors in here. They're sort of reddish in color, but this was really cheap. I will put a link in the description below for this kit right here. Now this video is for all of you out there that are getting into modding your guitars, that work on your own guitars, that are starting out doing so. I recently had brought to my attention when talking about tone capacitors, someone said, do you use a 0.022 or do you use a 0.00 so-and-so and such and such? Or do you use orange drop? No. I've not ever bought an orange drop capacitor because the cost effectiveness just didn't work for me. I bought all of those 150 pieces for I can't even remember. I'll tell you what, I'll put that information right here. You can see what I give for right there. You see there's a price in there somewhere. Just have a good look. 2 of the orange drop capacitors cost $10. $10. $10. That's a lot. That's enough gas to get out of my driveway. So rather than debate the issue like I used to do back in my day when I was a know-it-all, I decided, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I have heard the orange drop tone capacitors before. They have been in instruments that I have played. I did like them. The only reason why I liked this kit was because it gives me a tonal variety.
Yeah. There's that word again. Tonal variety.
I'm a musician, dude. All tone matters. So I like when I dial back my tone knob or my preference. I don't want to have to work and find the sweet spot where I look for that perfect tone if I'm playing like a clean tone or I'm going over a blues track or something like that. I like to just dial it back to 0 and it be right there perfect where I'm at. Just absolutely perfect. I don't know how these are going to react to that, but what I am going to do today is I'm going to take one of my .022s and compare it to these .022s. Now, I did buy these because I do need them. I have recently been getting a flux of customers into my studio wanting me to fix their guitars. And I know it's only a matter of time before someone specifically asks for that certain capacitor to be on a rewiring job. So I got a few of them to have just in case. These right here, if there is no difference, I'll just use these. But if they prefer the actual orange drop capacitors, I'll just use those. And we'll just see how big of a difference there is between the two capacitors, the Bojack capacitor and the orange drop capacitor. I've already got the back plate off of my good old buddy here, Lieutenant Dan. What about it? Ain't he sexy? Ain't he? Doesn't he look sexy? I mean, he looks sexy. So I'm going to pull this coil split that I have in here out, which is where the tone capacitor for this guitar lives. And I'm going to take that one out and then put another one in. And I'm going to give you guys a sound sample of both tone capacitors, the Bojack brand and the orange drop, so you guys can see and judge whether or not what's best for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you need the Bojack. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need the orange drop, because everybody's preference is different, folks. I'm not here to create any kind of hate whatsoever when it comes to anything music, because it's all preference. Every bit of it's preference. I recently got a comment on these guitars right here. A gentleman had watched the video that I did a month or so ago where I had to do a complete fret relevel on this guitar. And this guy that commented told me that he had to return his guitar, but he loved it. He just loved the guitar, but the way it showed up, it just wouldn't work for him. So I told him it's not for everybody. Modding is not for everybody. Setups are not for everybody. Some people just simply don't have the time to learn a new trade or a new skill when it comes to stuff like this. We've all got jobs. I mean, have you seen the gas prices over the past month? I mean, come on, man. You know, half your paycheck's going to go into your gas tank these days. But what we are going to do is we are going to put my good old buddy Lieutenant Dan back on the bench today, not for any repair sake, but just for comparison of these two tone capacitors so you guys can see the difference. And then, like I said, judge for yourself what you want to do. I can't judge for you. Like I can't tell you what to do. But if you do need somebody to tell you what to do, I work cheap by the hour.
Later.
Okay, guys, never mind all of this mess right here. Get off my back. A 0.22 orange drop. Now, as far as I can tell, these are the exact same spec 0.2. I think they call them nanofarads or something like that. But look at the size difference. You know, this is a 0.22 and this is a 0. No, I'm wrong. This is a .022 and this is a .022. I can never get those right. But yes, both of them are the same. So what we are going to do is I'm going to take this one off right here. And to do so, I'm going to fire up my handy dandy new soldering station that I've got. That thing heats up and in a hurry, and it shows you the temperature. So that way I know that I am on the right track when it comes to doing any kind of soldering whatsoever. Okay, and we are going to tin these with my 6040 lead tin here. This stuff is really good. Big thanks to Dylan Talks Tone for talking about, he had a video on solder and he was talking about this 6040 flux core stuff, and this is amazing solder. I love this solder. So let's flip us off a small piece here and let's fix this up to where we don't have any kind of drippage or anything like that that can get on the body of the guitar. Now guys, I'm doing this is so if you get into a situation like this, the best thing to do is put some kind of cloth under where you're going to be soldering, because if you do not, you can get solder on your equipment and it's just not the way to go. Okay, so now we're going to solder this, and there you go. Now, I'm not going to worry about clipping the legs or anything right now because we're just doing a comparison. That's all we are doing is just a comparison. So let's heat this solder up here. Okay, got that to stick, and let's heat up this solder here. Okay. And that's stuck. So I am going to run you guys through these tones. I have the headrush on a clean tone. The volume is all the way up. So I'm going to take this loose. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is it's wide open right now. I'm going to strum, turn it down, strum, turn it back up, strum, turn it down so you guys can hear. And then immediately we're going to put the other one in, and then I'll show you what the other one does. And then after that, we'll do side by side, one for the other, one for the other. That way you guys can tell the difference. Now, these are supposed to be the same value between this and the orange drop. So we're going to see exactly what it does. Now, I like this one on here because I can dial the tone all the way down, and it's just where I like it if I want to darken up my tone. So ears open, volume up. Okay, so you guys heard that was volume, tone all the way up, tone all the way down. That's about where I like it on this guitar, because primarily all I ever do with this guitar is play metal. I play some clean tones and stuff, but very rarely, because the pickups that are in this guitar are just phenomenal for any kind of hard rock and metal. So we're going to take this one out. Let's get this back over here. Okay, so now all we're going to do is we are going to heat up here, and going to heat up here. We're going to move that over out of the way, and we're going to leave it to the side because I may decide to go back with this. I don't know. It just depends. I want to see what I can get from this guitar with the orange drop capacitor. So we are going to put this in here. So let's heat this tin back up a little bit here. Okay, let's bend that up and this down. And let's heat this up here. And may need just a little bit. I hear most of it come off of that other wire. There we go. All right, now we're going to do the same thing again. Turn it back on. I'm going to take this off here. Let's see if there's a difference between this one and that one, and if you guys can tell the difference. Okay, to my ear, this seems like it's a little bit darker in a way, but it's just so minute that I can't tell. I can't tell really a difference between that one and this one. I really like the tone all the way down with this orange drop on there. I think it sounds good. It gets dark without getting too dark at the absolute zero on the tone knob. So we may just keep this one on here. Not like there's anything wrong with this one. This one was doing a fantastic job, but this one, for some reason, I can't really tell the difference. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to clip these legs, and I am just going to install this one to this tone knob, and I'm going to use this probably for a little while before I make a final decision on it. But we will have thoughts and opinions, so let's go to that.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
String pickers, I can't really tell much of a difference. And I'll just tell you this. When this bridge pickup is full bore, when both coils are running, there is no difference in tone. The tone knob does not work. When both of these coils are not split and it's full humbucker, there's no tone knob. I done that for a reason, because these pickups, the SAFU Invader clones, sound so good and they're so well rounded. If it's going to be that hot and it's going to be in the bridge, I shouldn't want to dial back the tone anyway. So you can tell here that there's no difference in tone on the bridge. So there's no difference in tone. However, when I did split that pickup, I placed the capacitor on that coil split to where it would operate in the split position, because I wanted some tone there. When you split these pickups, you get a high-end sound that sounds like this. Both of these pickups are split. Both the bridge and the neck pickup are split. However, the tone knob does not work when they are not split. The capacitor is soldered in a way to where it only works when they're split. Like I said, these pickups sound great, absolutely great, when they're both operating to their full capacity. When I play cleans on that bridge pickup and it's split, it gets real chimey, gets a little bit of that high end. It doesn't sound as well rounded as it is when it's full bore. So that's where the tone capacitor is. I can dial that back and then I'm good to go. And I can play nice warm tones, bluesy tones, anything like that. When I wired this guitar up, I wanted it like that, just to experiment, so to speak, in one way, but in another way, I did it because I love these pickups when they're just full bore all the way. When they're running everything all the way. I love these pickups. They're just absolutely amazing. But when I want to play clean to these pickups, that's why I experimented with doing that the way I did, in order to get tone to operate when they're split to single coils. As far as my thoughts and opinions are going to be this. I can't tell a difference. I can't. I had that bridge pickup split on the Bojack brand, and I had it split on the orange drop capacitor. I cannot tell a difference. That's to my old rock and roll ears. They've seen a lot in their day, so I mean, you can't really go by my ears. You would really more or less have to go by your own. Do I see paying $10 for 2 of those capacitors, those orange drop capacitors, or paying the price of this for $150. I think I'll take this. I think for my preference, I'll be okay with it. There are a lot of people out there that would beg to differ, and hey, that's your thing. I have nothing against it. I have nothing against it. I am not downing orange drop capacitors in any way, shape, or form. By all means, if you have a very expensive 1960s or 70s Gibson Les Paul or a Stratocaster or something that's worth a lot of money and you want to get it as close as to what it sounded like back then, you can get the orange drop capacitors. You can even get the oil field capacitors that they had way back in the day. And by all means, if that's your thing, do that. I recommend that you do that. I will tell you, do it. You will, if you decide to solder that in and do it yourself, or have a guitar tech or luthier do it for you, then great. That's awesome. All of my respect to you. But for me, and what I have here in this studio, I'm going to stay with the Bojack capacitors because they do the same job. I've had those Bojack capacitors now for months, and I have those installed in several guitars in this studio, and they're doing an absolutely amazing job. No complaints whatsoever. No complaints. I did buy those orange drop capacitors because I know sooner or later I'm going to get a customer in that's going to ask about it. And I would rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. But yeah, that's the basis behind this video. String pickers was just to give you a comparison of these different tone capacitors, and I had the question, why? Why are people going with orange drop? Why is there, I've played them before and it just seemed like the Bojacks did the same thing. They are smaller, and that's a plus for me because sometimes you don't get a whole lot of room in the electronics cavity of a guitar to install them big orange drops in there. Tellies especially. If you got a telly, you don't get a big control cavity there for much. Most of the time you have to route out to put it in a full-size pot. But yeah, that's this video. Do with it what you will, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this matter below. If you can hear a difference, maybe I'm just, maybe I have my selective hearing turned on. I don't know. But I just could not tell the difference. And I have these monitors, which is the clearest sound that I can get from any guitar is through these monitors. The Carvin will be bassy on clean tone, and I would have to adjust EQs and everything, but my monitors give you true sound and leave everything at noon and just go with it, and I can't tell the difference. I really can't. But yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. That is today's video, string pickers. As always, I pray that you and yours are having the most blessed day ever. And I pray that God himself is with you all. Until next time.
Wait a minute. Bye.
Let's go!